Everybody's heard about what happened sa Teresa
Yes.
Magbanwa. It's already on the way home. It's already back. But of course, the primary
At may
concern...
kapalit na ha.
Oo.
May pinadadala na daw silang panibago.
I think it's on the way or it's almost there. Pero, sir,
Yeah.
ang primary concern nga naman is baka we might have Scarborough Shoal all over again. I mean, the replacement is on the way there. We don't know whether it will be successful in establishing its presence there o maghaharangan ulit. Kasi yung resupply na nga lang ng Magbanwa, nahirapang magpasok ng gamit kaya hindi siya ma-resupply at nabusan ng tubig at pagkain. So we don't know kung it will be a successful replacement of Magbanwa. What do you think of what happened? Were there other things that we could have done as far as this was concerned? Could we have resupplied in a better way para hindi muna mag-pull out ang Magbanwa? Or was it really necessary to pull out Magbanwa?
Okay, let's put into context first the similarities and differences of Scarborough Shoal and the Sabina Shoal. No? One is, of course, napakalaking bahura ng Scarborough Shoal, which is close to Zambales. And there's only one mouth or entry there. That's the reason why it was so easy for China to control it. Unlike in Sabina, this is the largest reef in this Spratlys Island. So marami kang multi-entry. No? Hindi lang isa yung pwede mo pasukan. And of course, what happened there, of course, we placed our PRP Teresa Magbanwa. Similar to what we have done in the Second Thomas Shoal or yung Ayungin Shoal kung saan nandun yung BRP Sierra Madre. The question there is, what happened? Why all of a sudden left? No? Well, of course, they did, China Coast Guard did a lot of ramming and they even scared us of the crushing na similar naman sa ramming. Dati na nilang ginagawa yan. And what happened recently, there was the 10th BCM. And most likely, yung pinag-usapan nila would be the situation in Sabina Shoal. In the 9th BCM, last month, I remember there was an agreement made between the Philippines and China. And the resolution there was dapat tuloy-tuloy yung resupply mission. But let's put into context kung anong nangyari, bakit hinarangan nila yung Escoda or Sabina Shoal ng China at mukhang hindi naging maganda yung resolution nila because both parties stood with their own positions. And there was no joint communique coming out from the 10th BCM. I'm quite sure hindi naman biglang give up si Philippines dyan because of course medyo matindi pa rin yung ating statement coming from DFA that Sabina Shoal is still part of the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines. I think logistics yung naging problem and secondly, it was also a direct result of their conversation. One, of course, dahil 3 beses nilang niram yung Magbanwa natin at malalaki yung butas doon.
Yes, sir. And
the goal of China, if there was no talk, is to really sink Magbanwa or tow it away. So might as well, it's better to de-escalate the situation. Kaya medyo nagpahinga muna si BRP Magbanwa at may kapalit naman siya. It was assured to us to stand with our strong presence in that maritime feature of the Philippines. Now, what do we expect from China? We are expecting also that China will also decrease its warming. Kasi nga 207 the last time, 207 1 versus 207 vessels. And that was really brave enough for the Philippines. Let's look at the legal context. Scarborough Shoal was the harbinger of our lawfare that started the filing of arbitral case against China, which we won in 2016. Dito sa Sabina Shoal, strategic yung point of view dito dahil yun yung daanan going to Ayungin Shoal.
Yes, sir.
Yun yung reason. And of course, China thinks that ito na naman kayo, meron na naman kayong ilalagay na outpost dyan. Which I think they feared of what happened in BRP Sierra Madre. Na tumagal din. I think that was in 1994 where we where we placed that dun dinala yung barko na yun. So they don't want that it would replicate what we have done to them because that is outwitting China. So the best way and secondly, we have a strong lawfare. yung legal approach, which China has a weak legal approach when it comes to their maritime claims in our shores in the West Philippine Sea. No, kaya ang kanilang ginagawa, yung patuloy pa rin nilang gray zone tactics. And I think that was a result of what has transpired in the 10th BCM. No? Might as well de-escalate the situation, pero round 1 pa lang ito. Hindi pa dito nagtatapos because we are expecting other consequences of what we have decided recently.
Dagdag lang sa sinabi ni Professor, no, dahil more than several weeks na ay lugaw na lang yung kinakain diyan sa Teresa Magbanwa, no? Talagang medyo gutom na yung mga tao at may sakit na. Kaya ginamit nilang dahilan yung medical emergency. At sabi nga ni Professor, pinapalibutan na yan ng napakaraming militia, Coast Guard, at even People's Liberation Army Navy vessels at saka battleship. Pero ang sabi nga ng ating Navy at saka Coast Guard ay hindi sila aatras diyan. Actually baka dumating na diyan yung ating 40-meter vessel na kapalit ng Teresa Magbanwa. By this time baka nandiyo na yan. Unless harangan, makikipagpatintero sila diyan ngayon, no? Kwan lang yan 65 nautical miles from Palawan. Malapit lang yan Sabi nga ni Professor, gateway yan sa Ayungin. At yung Ayungin ay gateway sa Fiery Cross na meron ng artificial island base ang China. Kaya kung gusto ng China na eventually tanggalin yung BRP Sierra Madre, ay mahalaga hindi tayo makaporma sa Escoda diyan sa Sabina, no? Sabina Shoal. Kaya dikit-dikit yan Dikit-dikit. At ang tanong ko, Professor, ay pwede ba na meron kang relatively good agreement dyan sa resupply ng Ayungin, tapos nag-escalate ang harassment sa Scarborough, sa Escoda, sa Sabina. Will that hold? No? Will that hold na meron kang isang spot na relatively ay stable ang relasyon, katulad sa Ayungin, nakadalawang resupply na yata sila, pero all around the West Philippine Sea ay nag-escale up ang aggression. No? Pwede ba yan?
Very, very interesting question. No? Kaya nakita natin parang piece by piece yung agreement na gusto nila. No? It's a different agreement from what we have in Ayungin Shoal. Parang iba ata yung gusto rin nila dito sa Sabina. But nonetheless, no, mas prominent kasi na lumalabas yung strategic value ng Sabina Shoal. And also because of the recent development, dahil lumalakas din yung gusto ng US na tumulong talaga sa atin, no? Especially with the joint escort na pinopropose nila. And of course, tinatansya din ni China dito kung talagang paninindigan ni US yung kanyang invocation of the Mutual Defense Treaty na hindi pa nare-resolve up to now. So, yun yung complexity na nakikita natin dito. But of course, no, medyo nagmamatigas pa rin ang Pilipino, which I think is very useful in terms of defense posture na sinasabi natin, we should lead the pack, and of course, no, yung joint escort will be the last resort that we will use. Dahil nga, maganda pa rin na yung maximum tolerance ginagamit natin using the rules-based norms. At the same time, gusto pa rin natin ipakita na nag-iisip tayo ng mga maraming pamamaraan, no? Because we don't want that other nations will steal this kind of story from us. No? Kwento po natin ito. Kwento ng ating pakikipaglaban para sa ating soberenya dahil yun din yung ginagamit ni China sa disinformation campaign niya na sinasabi niya na kaya naman nagtatapang-tapangan ang Pilipinas dahil nandyan ng US, no? Ayaw natin gamitin nila yun sa atin. Gusto natin ipakita na talagang meron tayong paninindigan at ang ating paninindigan ay dahil mas malinis ito dahil ginagamitan natin ito ng international law, and of course pinapaniwalaan kasi natin yung international rules-based norms. But nonetheless, no, ang issue dito, yes po.
Kaya nga yun na nga babanggitin ko mas may karapatan tayo dyan, mas malapit yan sa atin, di ba? And you mentioned the strategic importance. Meron na tayong ruling meron na tayong, it's based on the UNCLOS. Ang itatanong ko lang, Significantly nangyari to nung I understand nag-meeting na uli yung dalawang bansa, Manila and Beijing last week. So, but although I'm not sure kung may relasyon to dito sa pag-pull out sandali ng Magbanwa. Ang itatanong ko lang, kasi you mentioned na nag-aalala ang China, I guess it's true, na baka maging another ayungin itong Sabina na magkakaroon tayo ng military outpost. Ang tingin ko, ano naman ngayon kung magtayo tayo ng military outpost dyan. So it's well within our exclusive economic zone. We have an arbitral ruling. Mas may karapatan tayo dyan.
Yes.
Diba? I mean, what might be stopping us from turning it into whatever we want with it?
I totally agree with that proposition po that it is within the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines. That means kaya very close ito sa mainland Palawan compared to mischief reef na kinuha sa atin in 1995 and the contested Ayungin Shoal kung saan nandun yung BRP Sierra Madre. But ang nakikita rin kasi nagiging komplikado siya because of the power rivalry, but at the same time yung never surrender mantra ng Philippines. But at the same time, the question now is, ano kasi ang labanan kasi ngayon because outwitting How do you outwit others? No? Naisip kasi ni China, ilang beses kasi natin sila na outwit in terms of lawfare. Talagang pinapaniwalaan ng mundo yung credibility natin pagdating sa ganyan. And secondly, yung talas ng ating strategiya, no? Kasi hindi nila na-foresee yung BRP Sierra Madre. Tapos ngayon, naiisip nila na ito na naman, meron na naman silang bagong strategiya dito sa Teresa Magbanwa. So kaya ang papansinin natin, ang kanilang strategy lagi is the use of violence. Kaya nga ramming and crushing yung ginagawa lagi nila because they really have a weak narrative, support from the international community, and weak legal claims in the West Philippine Sea. Kaya doon ngayon ang labanan kung paano nila tayo makukuha in terms of, because of course, they don't want to lose us for the reasons that kailangan nila tayo sa kanilang grand strategy dahil unang-una, ang kakompetensya nila ay ang Estados Unidos, no? US. Pangalawa, ayaw nila mawala ang Pilipinas sa kanilang radar dahil unang-una, marami silang natututunan sa atin. Ano ang natututunan nila sa atin? Natututunan nila yung international laws, natututunan nila yung magagaling na mga estratehiya natin laban sa kanila dahil sa Timog Silangang Asya, tayo yung nananaig na bansa kung saan meron tayong transparency strategy even without the China money. Umuusbong ang ating ekonomiya. Sinubukan nilang tanggalin yung infrastructure development programs nila dito sa Pilipinas. Pero nakita nila, bakit lumalakas ang ekonomiya ng Pilipinas? No? Kaya bumabalik na naman sila. Sinubukan nilang mag-infiltrate sa atin, ginamitan nila tayo ng kanilang mga spy, pero nahuhuli at nagre-react ang gobyerno natin at ang taas ng distrust ng mga Pilipino sa kanila. So as much as possible, kung ang kanilang ambisyon ay maging pinakamalakas na bansa sa mundo, kailangan nila ang Pilipinas para pag nakuha nila tayo, malaking bagay sa kanila na wala na masyadong nagre-reklamo sa atin. Mabait na ang Pilipinas sa atin at pwede na natin gawin yung ating ambisyon.
Prof, balikan ko lang yung sinabi nyo kanina. At least I think I heard you say this, but tell me if I got it right. Parang may sinabi ko kanina, parang the goal of China was to sink or tow away Teresa Magbanwa. What makes you say that? What makes you think that, kasi that sound a bit extreme, to try to sink our biggest Coast Guard vessel, if not sink, at least tow away. What makes you say that? Is there anything that we missed out on?
Because that's a military victory for China if they could sink our BRP Magbanwa. Kasi ang end goal nila ay mabawasan ang resupply mission natin. And the next thing to do is to sink also BRP Sierra Madre kasi archaic na ito. Mas madali nga pabagsakin yung BRP Sierra Madre than Magbanwa kasi si Magbanwa bago siya and moving. Si Sierra Madre, grounded siya, no? Hindi gumagalaw, saka archaic na siya, no? Masyado ng luma. So you see that kind of logic, no? But of course, no, it's not an easy game for China. Unang-una, ang dami nating malalakas na bala laban sa kanila for the reasons that the international community believes in us and they are watching also. Habang nga binabangga nila tayo, mas dumadami yung kaibigan natin. And I think that's the magic of what we are doing right now, no? Kasi
Pero Professor, tumatalab ba yun? Excuse me ha? Tumatalab ba sa China yun? Babanggitin ko lang na there's a German warship in Manila. Right now, first time I think in 20 years.
Yes po, and
and they passed through the Taiwan Strait, ha?
Yes po, and I'll
Passed through Taiwan Strait at na ngayon, nakabasdak ngayon. At nagsalita ang German government na they are for freedom of navigation in the South China Sea and directly kinikriticize nila China sa mga ginagawa sa atin.
Yes,
Pero
yes
tumatalab ba yun? May impact ba yun sa China?
At least nag-unify ang European powers ngayon kasi nga alam naman natin kung ano nangyayari din sa Europe na may katulad din ng China doon, yung Russia. At least mas stronger yung stand nila. And I think I'll be there tomorrow, no, to see the ship, no. Imbitahan ko ako doon. But nonetheless, yung question ko ninyo napakaganda. Dati kasi medyo nalilito rin si France at saka si UK. May ugong-ugong pa nga na pareho ba sila ng suporta sa laban sa China nito? And all of a sudden, we were all happy and surprised that finally, Germany is saying the same thing now.
Yes.
No? Same as what France was saying a long time ago. So tama ito, magandang development ito. At tignan na, at kasi naniwala talaga rin si Germany sa rules-based order. I've been talking to some of their top diplomats at sinasabi nila, ang amin lang naman yung makita ni China yung rules-based order eh. At yun ang nabubulag si China sa katotohanan na ang mundo ay kinakailangan may batas. At hindi nakatataas si China sa batas na yan. At yun yung gusto nating ituro rin kay China, that no one is above the law, not even a superpower, not even China.
Napanood nyo ba yung interview ni Secretary Gibo Chodoro sa 60 Minutes? Maraming mga takeaway doon sa interview niya. No, halimbawa, nabanggit niya na ang objective eventually ng China ay tanggalin yung ating BRP Sierra Madre. Paano yun nga yung gateway doon sa kanilang napaka-importanting military base sa Fiery Reef. No? At yung isang tanong na medyo mahirap, na sabi nga ni Secretary Gibo Chodoro, neither confirm nor deny, ay willing ba tayong pumasok sa gera to defend our rights diyan sa Ayungin, no? At ngayon dito sa Escoda na mas malapit sa ating landmass, no? So ang sabi ni Secretary Gibo ay neither confirm nor deny. Yun yung sagot niya. Pero
parang nabanta ko po ata yun, sir, no? But if you ask me as an analyst, dalawa rin ang aking pagtingin dito. One is, of course, no, sinasabi kasi ng buong mundo ngayon, ang lakas-lakas na ni China, no, overpass niya na ang US in terms of its assets sa Navy, Air Force, Army, pati sa Coast Guard.
Mukhang hindi pa.
And ang tanong na lagi kong tinuturo sa senior military and Coast Guard officials na students ko, are we ready to go to war? And at what expense, no? But nonetheless, it has to happen for the sake that we have to know what is the level of warfare skills of China ngayon. Kasi kung halimbawa, kahit na marami kang ngayong assets, kung hindi naman magaling yung strategiya mo, yung grand strategy mo, tingin ko matatalo. And I think this is the last battle of the West. Natatakot din sila of what, because alam nila na ang mangyayari, it's either they win and they continue with their supremacy or another superpower will replace them, and that is China. So kinakailangan mayroon talagang ganitong conflict para malaman natin kung sino yung mas malakas. No, secondly, yung idealistic point of view, of course, no, we are trying to deter. Kaya nga ang pinili ng Pilipinas ngayon yung deterrence, de-escalatory mechanism. Kasi alam niya kapag sige, sabihin natin kung halimbawa 3 weeks ago, pumayag na tayo sa gusto ni US, yes, help us escort for the resupply mission. Malamang titira si China sa atin, no? At yung consequence ng naiisip nating worst case scenario, pwede namang mangyari. Kaya ngayon, habang kaya pa ng Pilipinas yung maximum tolerance at mag-lead and to show to China na kaya namin itong defense posture namin na problema namin, then we have to continue with that, no? Ang sinasabi lang naman ng ating presidente at ng ating Secretary of National Defense, kapag meron ng worst case scenario at yung may namatay na sundalo natin or any Filipino, I think hindi pa naman mangyayari yun. At nangyayari yun. And I think si China rin hindi rin handa. No? Kasi ang kanyang ambition talaga is by 2049 is to become the leading nation of the world, no? At ayaw niya kasi ang Chinese psyche kapag nagplano yan, gusto nila matutupad yung kanilang plano. Kaya naman yung ginawa nila sa ekonomiya nila 1978 nung nag-open up sila ng economy nila, linano naman nila na marating
ang problema lang, Professor, merong pressure kay Xi Jinping no? Mula sa kanyang sariling People's Liberation Army. Halimbawa, kung hindi niya makuha ang Taiwan within the next 3 years, pwede siyang may possibility na siya ay ma-oust. At syempre, yung Taiwan ay nakadikit din dito sa usapin ng South China Sea. At dahil meron na tayo mga missiles na aabot ng China, ay posibleng trigger yan. Pero ang tanong ko, Professor, ay itong parapit na eleksyon sa US sa November, no? Kung sakaling iba yung maging presidente ng Amerika, will this affect foreign policy dito sa rehiyon? Dahil just more than a month ago, sabi ni ex-President Donald Trump na hindi niya ipaglalaban ang Taiwan kung hindi nila ipo-foot ang bill. Parang yung sinasabi niya sa Ukraine tsaka sa NATO. So, very different yan sa statement ni Biden na ipaglalaban niya ang Taiwan militarily. So, will the elections in the US affect foreign policy in our region?
Definitely yes, dahil unang-una, tingnan natin yung unpredictability ni yung pagiging pragmatic ni ex-President Trump, no? Alam naman natin ang kanyang strength would be on trade, kaya nga nakipag-trade war siya kay China. But of course, no, ang question there, even Ukraine, I've been talking with some Ukrainian analysts, natatakot sila of the consequences, no? Kasi maaaring gawin niya, makipagkaibigan si Trump kay Russia at magkaroon ng armistice or peace treaty with Ukraine. So, ano naman dito sa side of our region, no? What would be the consequences? Yung iba natatakot na baka hindi na tayo suportaan dun sa 4 na EDCA sites natin. Dahil nga dun sa sinasabi niya na si US kasi lately naging protectionist superpower siya. Mas iniintindi niya ngayon yung mga domestic affairs niya than yung foreign affairs niya. Mainly because of some monetary constraints. And at the same time, mas tinitimbang niya ngayon yung kanyang national interest more than yung international interest. But at the same time, dahil nga police power pa rin siya, wala pa rin pumapalit na bansa sa kanyang estado bilang pinakamalakas na superpower, nandun pa rin yung kanyang pakikipaglaro kung paano niya mabalanse ang lahat, yung domestic at saka yung foreign affairs niya. But nonetheless, I think si ex-President Trump kasi alam naman natin yung personality niya, very unpredictable. Maaari niyang, I think, mas magiging close siya kay Russia more than kay China kasi even during his first stint as the US President, talaga namang mainit ang dugo niya kay China, no? Kaya nga nakipag-trade war siya. And nonetheless, dahil gusto niya America first, at American supremacy, ang target talaga niya ay si China. So ang consequences nun, maaaring i-lessen niya ang support with Taiwan and the Philippines kasi hindi siya masyado magaling sa rival alliances and of course yung multilateralism. But at the same time, I think mas magfo-focus siya talaga on how to counter China kasi alam niya na ang pinakamalakas na kalaban ngayon ng US ay ang China, no? Whether be it economics or military.
Okay. Bok, we have to go into a break. Maraming salamat po, Professor Chester Cabalsa, ang ating security analyst, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Salamat, Prof.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.